morning, dear hearts. We are on lesson 136. Please subscribe. We're still having these big lessons. This whole section is like that. I will try to make it a shorter video, but we'll see what happens. Today's lesson is sickness is a defense against the truth. Sickness is the biggest, greatest, most attention-getting weapon in the ego's toolbox to protect and uphold its thought system. Because sickness catches our attention because it is of the body, and we still have these attachments to the body. So when there is any threat of our turning, our becoming aware, and have glimmerings of awareness, so we will be leaving, minimizing the ego's thought system. Well, that big tool comes out because now the ego's thought system is threatened by our looking and beginning to know there is something else, there is a better way. So out comes sickness. This lesson says, sickness isn't an accident. Like all defenses, it is an insane device for self-deception. Sickness doesn't just happen, is what this lesson tells us. So there's lots of parts in this lesson that are not welcomed, and we can be rather insulted by them, and especially anyone who is experiencing any kind of an illness that is prolonged. But like everything in this course, there's a totality of it. And the totality of this lesson is that sickness does not have to be, that we can change and heal the mind. We talked yesterday about the unhealed mind. When the mind is healed, the body will have to obey that healed mind, because the body in and of itself is, as I've said many times, like a puppet, and whoever is pulling the strings is where that puppet goes. This lesson tells us that sickness becomes a choice, but once it happens, it says that it cannot be done unconsciously, but afterwards your plan, the plan of the ego, requires that you must forget you made it, so it seems to be external to your own intent. So we are in cahoots with the ego in this, because turning towards awareness, releasing the ego's thought system, becoming a part wholly and completely of our holy mind is a huge shift. And it isn't made lightly for so many. It is frightening because of the change that it will bring about. And so we stick often to this egoic thought system way too long because it's a comfort. Even though it brings us pain, it's a comfortable pain because it's a known pain. So this lesson tells us that defenses must make facts unrecognizable. They aim at doing this, and it is this they do. If we really understood what was happening, we would not go along with it. But the ego and its thought system mixes up everything. It's like it takes all the parts of the whole, breaks them down into pieces, and I've used this as a metaphor before of a kaleidoscope, that all the pieces are in there, but you keep turning the front of it, and it keeps giving you a different visage, a different image. And so you don't even remember anymore what the whole was. What did it look like? And this lesson says that sickness is a decision. It is a choice you make. And in making this choice, we are deluded into thinking that it is our true identity, but it is not. When we realize this, when we realize that all that sickness will bring us is a delay from the awareness and the awakening of the truth of who we are, now we can look at it and we can step back from it, and we can know that there is a different choice. This lesson has some amazing, amazing lines in it. And it talks about how do you think that sickness can succeed in shielding you from the truth? Because it proves the body is not separate from you, and so you must be separate from the truth. If I believe that the body is my identity, then I've accepted the idea that my identity is very frail and illness is going to get me, and ultimately there will be death. And the lesson goes on to say, for see, this dust can make you suffer, twist your limbs, stop your heart, commanding you to die and cease to be. But his son, God's son, is not dust, and the Father would be incomplete, and chaos would sit in triumph on God's throne if, in fact, we were bodies and subject to all of this illness and all of this frailty. But God knows better, and heaven will not change, even though we believe and we delay for a while. The truth of what we are, who we are, will not change, and our truth will still be there for us. It says truth merely waits to give you happiness, for such its purpose is. Perhaps it sighs a little when you throw away its gifts, and yet it knows with perfect certainty that what God wills for you must be received. Like so many times I've said it, this is a sure thing. The delay is definitely possible, but ultimately God's will be done. So the practicing today are 2 15-minute sessions, and to go into them, it gives us some lines for, we want truth to come into our mind, because in truth it's never been apart from us. So the lines we are given to introduce us into practicing are, sickness is a defense against the truth. I will accept the truth of what I am and let my mind be wholly healed today. And it says, healing will flash across your open mind as peace and truth arise to take the place of war and vain imaginings. So this lesson then goes on, and I'm going to say again that it's very a precursor to lesson 294, when we will get to it about our bodies being a wholly neutral thing. But when we go into this peace and this truth, it says, if we are successful even a little bit, the body should not feel at all. If you have been successful, there will be no sense of feeling ill or feeling well, of pain or pleasure. No response at all is in the mind to what the body does. Its usefulness remains and nothing more, because we have turned the body over to the Holy Spirit, to that thought system. Now, this lesson does come with a bit of a warning, telling us that, the body's health is fully guaranteed because it is not limited by time, by weather, or fatigue, by food or drink. However, if we allow our minds to fall back into the thought system of the ego, it is possible that we will once again experience this idea of sickness. But there is an instant remedy that we have at our hand, that we can say, I have forgotten what I really am, for I mistook my body for myself. Sickness is a defense against the truth, but I am not a body, remember that, and my mind cannot attack, so I cannot be sick. So it's a big lesson, not a giant stride. This whole section are huge lessons for us to understand. Realize that when we claim the truth of who we are, every illusion is eliminated. So, and we do that hopefully during our practice today. So please like, please share, please subscribe. A little less longer than yesterday. Like, share, subscribe. Please comment, and continue our prayers. And please be here tomorrow. Namaste.